it for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs!
And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro on this Tuesday, June 4th. I hope you are well. The Sick Podcast brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group. Energy Transportation Group, once again, recognized as one of Canada's top fleet employers for the fourth consecutive year. The prestigious accolade underscores their steadfast dedication to fostering a workplace of excellence and opportunity, much in part to their exceptional team for their unwavering commitment and contribution. Energy Transportation Group is a top fleet employer. Also brought to you in part by Bittt, Tibi, brewed in Quebec, a winner of a dozen international awards. Bittt Tibi offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. Bittt Tibi, embrace your true nature. Brought to you in part by Playground. Over 30,000 square feet of new gaming, dining, and entertainment space. Time to reacquaint yourself with Playground, world-class sushi, AAA steaks, live shows, a brand new poker floor, and much more, located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. Playground experience the strip without the trip, and also brought to you in part by Accent Insurance Solutions. At accentassurance.com is the website. But you all know that insurance isn't created equal. You know where to find the right solution for you. And that's Accent Insurance. Accent doesn't sell insurance. They shop insurance for you to find the right product right on the money, whatever your insurance needs. Home, business, or automobile. Call the Accent team at 514-363-3636 and get the right solution at the right price. Once again, their website, www.accentassurance.com. All right, okay. We have a lot to mention, one of which is that we're going to be taping. We're going to be live at Sir Winston's, Winnie's. This Friday, June 7th, as a matter of fact. And we look forward to that. It's going to be a live podcast on what? On the Canadian Grand Prix. We're going to be at 1455 Crescent Street, downtown Montreal. Hopefully we'll be on the terrace. That would be nice. Sir Winston's, they're kicking off their terrace season, and we're gearing up for the Grand Prix weekend. Winnie's always a fun time, in the center of the action, of course. Come try the everyday classic apps, nachos and chicken wings, or try the fabulous burgers. The Winnie salad is always a great choice, and the jambalaya is an all-time customer favorite. Enjoy happy hour 5 to 7 with complimentary hors d'oeuvres at the buffet 5 days a week. See you at Winnie's on Crescent. I'll be there on Friday at 1 p.m. As a matter of fact, I'll even be there before then, so it should be a lot of fun. All right, okay. Without further ado, there was a lot of Canadiens news going on. Well, there's Canadiens news going on every day, and that's why we go 12 months a year, but on the weekend, I have to tell you that the one guy who caught my attention was Owen Beck for a couple of reasons. A, he scored a couple of goals, and B, he's a Memorial Cup champ, and C, he's the MVP. He was absolutely fantastic. One guy who watched it with more attention than probably anyone else not employed by the Montreal Canadiens is Grant McCagg of Recruits. Grant, what's going on?
Hey, Tony. Great to see you.
Great to see you, too. He is the co-host of the Recruits Draftcast podcast. And by the way, I think your draft edition is out, eh? Shane Gaumont, Master Control. Do we have it? There we go. That's what it looks like. Holy Macklin. I like it. At the top of a talented draft class, Canada's Macklin Celebrini is poised to go number 1 to the San Jose Sharks. And there you have it. A picture of Demidov as well. And talk to me about that feature, Grant, before we get going here.
Yeah, well, we've got the cover done. I'm still working diligently and getting it finished. I wait until after the combine to finish everything up, because I like to get the weights and measurements, especially, but also get some feedback on the testing and the interviews and how they went. before I finalize my draft rankings, because it's all, everything is included, right? Try to come up with the most accurate draft rankings I can. But we're pre-selling it now, Tony. $5 off. It's only $14.99 for the draft guide, and we're going to have 150 players ranked this year as opposed to 120 drafts as opposed to one. So every year it's new and improved, and I hope people can support us. Go to recruits.ca, click on the photo of the draft cover, and it'll send you to where you can subscribe.
That's awesome stuff, Grant. I'm going right after the show, as a matter of fact. I promise you that one. Okay.
Very good.
Demidov's on the cover, along with Celebrini there. And, of course, he's not there in Buffalo for the Combine, which is nothing new to Russian players. Does that affect any draft ranking whatsoever when, teams, scouts, they can't see these players at the Combine?
Well, I believe the Russians have been showing up at the Combine. I didn't realize that he wasn't going this year.
No,
Michkov was there last year.
Based on what I read, he's not there.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I mean, I just read that. I'm going to double check here because I read a lot of things.
Right.
But I believe that he is not there. Let me.
Well, I mean, considering that they don't get to talk to the Russian prospects all year, I think they would have liked to have got a feel for him. It may hurt his draft stock a bit. I mean, it's tough to draft a guy not seeing him live other than your Russian scouts and not talking to him person to person, I mean, it's tough to draft a guy top 2 or 3 based on that, even though, the video blows you away when you watch him. He's certainly, I think, the most skilled player in the draft class. So that'll be interesting on draft day to see if, because I know I've heard that Chicago and Anaheim are leaning towards defensemen. Now, I can't see Columbus passing on him at 4, but hey, if he's there at 5, wow, Canadiens fans will be licking their chops and saying, well, passed on Michkov last year, don't do it again this year with the talented Russian, but we'll see.
Yeah. Demidov is in Miami as we speak, doing a little bit of rehabilitation on his injured shoulder.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, maybe teams are getting to talk to him, I would suspect. They're setting up interviews.
Is it his shoulder? He had an injury in the playoffs. I'm reading, actually, it's a piece by Kevin Dubé of Le Journal du Québec. It's a great piece where he says that he ran into Dan Milstein, who is Demidov's agent, and wanted to talk to Demidov, and Milstein said that he wasn't going to be answering any questions. But if there was any concern regarding an injury, I don't know where I got shoulder, but anyway, an injury that Demidov suffered during the playoffs, that there's no need to worry, that he's absolutely fine. And he's doing rehab on that injury right now in Miami to make sure that he'll be 100% ready for his next season. All right.
I think it's a knee.
Yeah.
I saw the injury there. I think he bent his knee back. I think we had the clip of that on your show, I believe, where he kind of bent his knee back the wrong way.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're right. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
But if he's in Miami, will he not be at the Combine?
He's not at the Combine.
Really?
Yeah, he is not at the Combine. Yep.
I don't know if hiding him from NHL teams is the best approach, but
yeah,
that's interesting.
Definitely, you're right. Definitely a knee injury, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely a knee injury. All right. Okay. Anyway, it's funny because the plan was not to talk about Demidov, but maybe we're going to end up going back to him a little bit later on. But
sure.
I mean, the plan is to talk about Owen Beck. But before we do, and once again, we'll put it off as well. The Canadiens sent out a tweet earlier this morning because they had a signing to announce. Mm-hmm. There you have it. Canadiens have agreed to terms on a 1-year, 2-way contract with goalie Connor Hughes.
Yeah.
Do we have his hockey DB? We do. There you have it. An undrafted goalie who's 27 years old. He's definitely got great size at 6'4", about 230 pounds. A guy who's played pretty much everywhere there is to play. But for the most part, for the last 7 years or so, he's been earning his trade in Switzerland. Plays with Lausanne and put up really good numbers this past season with Lausanne, whether it was the regular season or the playoffs. Some of the best numbers of his career that he put up. You'd have to go back to 2020 where he had a big-time season. 2020, 2021 with Sierra as well, put up great numbers there. Grant, do you know anything about him?
Well, I mean, I remember him vaguely from, I live in the Ottawa Valley area, and he played with the Lumber Kings, who I got a cup of coffee with way back in the day, and Carleton Place Canadiens. So, he had that connection where I knew of him at that time, but he certainly wasn't on the radar as a draft prospect. He never played above Tier 2 junior, but I think it's interesting that he played for Lausanne, and they made it all the way to the finals this year in the Swiss League, and they would have been up against Vinny Rohrer, right, in Zurich,
who plays for Zurich.
So I'm sure that the Canadian brass was keeping an eye on Rohrer, and then noticed the goalie at the other end that was keeping them in games, right? He had a really good playoff. I think .934 save percentage in the playoffs. So
yeah, it's funny we're talking about Rohrer because we were about to talk about Owen Beck, and it's all the same draft class, right? Slavkovsky went first overall. Philip Meshar, if memory serves me well, went 26. Owen Beck, if memory serves me well, went 33rd.
Yeah.
And Lane Hudson went 62nd.
Yeah.
And Rohrer went 75th. Yeah.
Third rounder.
Yeah.
And I got to see him quite a bit, him playing with the Ottawa 67s too.
Yeah.
And he's a really late, September birthday.
Okay.
So he's like as young as you can be in your draft class, right? And very immature, and still has some growing to do. Has to get bigger and stronger, but he had a good year, and it looked good at the World Championships for his age. He's just got to get stronger, and there's some good bottom line potential for him. Like he's not a bad prospect either.
He's Austrian, eh? He's Austrian, I think.
What's that?
He's Austrian, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He played for Austria at the World Championships, and didn't look too bad.
Who else was Austrian? Was Thomas Vanek Austrian?
That's right.
Yeah, Thomas Vanek was Austrian. All right, there you have it. If he turns out to be Thomas Vanek, he'd be a pretty good player. Thomas Vanek was a pretty good player.
Yeah.
Had some big-time seasons with the Buffalo Sabres and a cup of coffee with the Canadiens. All right, let's talk about Owen Beck. This is an intriguing player because when the Canadiens drafted him, a lot of some people, and you probably said the same thing. You tell me what you said. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but they said he's not Shane Wright, but
thankfully
he's at the time he was probably like a notch below, but he could do a lot of things that Shane Wright could do, and he could actually do some of them probably even better than Shane Wright. Wasn't quite known for the offensive potential though of a Shane Wright, maybe putting up the same kind of numbers. But a lot of people said, hey, you know what? You got Slavkovsky, you got yourselves a big power winger, and you got Owen Beck, and the Canadiens went out and made that trade, obviously, for Kirby Dach. But a lot of people thought, you know what? Canadiens made out pretty well with this guy. And the little that I saw, you can tell that he's a student of the game, and you could tell that he's like, he almost plays like a coach's son, like he does a lot of right things out there on the ice. I just worried about his offensive potential, but I think we saw some offense there in the Memorial Cup.
Yeah. He's got a great shot. And when you have a, NHL caliber shot like he does and release, and then, can skate like he does, work like he does, there's 20 goal plus potential there. Now, how many Habs centers have been in the past couple decades have been 20-goal scorers? Not too many. If he slots in as your third line center and he can chip in 20 goals, win 55+% of his faceoffs, play a good two-way game, little bit of physicality, as we noticed. Did you see that hit on Cowan?
I did. He hammered him. He caught him with his head down. He caught him good.
Yeah, that kind of set the tempo for the game. I thought it was. Like we're here to win. He forechecks really diligently, very, very strong in the forecheck. He had an excellent Memorial Cup. Played 23 minutes in that game. It seems like, I don't know, like at times it almost looked like he was bored. He's ready to move on to the next step. And it looked like at times later in the season that he was just kind of waiting for the Memorial Cup, the big stage, and, put on a show, and he did that. And
he did what the Canadiens wanted him to do, which is dominate at that level to show that he's done with that level,
right? And
he's ready to move on to another level.
Yes. And I mean, he's looked good at 2 training camps. He almost made the team his first year. As you know, I think he was the last cut.
Yeah. I'm happy he didn't. I'm happy he didn't. He wouldn't have been ready. He would have been skipping a step, No, you don't. You don't have to. You're in a rebuild. You don't have to skip steps.
Right. It didn't ultimately help KK, I don't think, to jump in at that age. And
I don't think it helped Galchenyuk either, to tell you the truth.
No, probably not. So there's no rush on these guys. I mean, Slav, he was ready physically, so I understood that one. But I think he goes to camp, and in talking to him, he's a determined, confident young man, and he has every intention on making the Canadiens out at camp next year. And I wouldn't put it past him.
Because it all I think Dvorak is a wild card in all this.
Yeah.
If Dvorak is moved around the draft, I think there's an opening there for Beck.
Right.
If he's not moved, I think when Dvorak eventually is moved, and I think I speak for both of us to say that we would expect Dvorak to be moved at the very latest on NHL trade deadline day.
I think so.
In the final year of his contract. So whenever Dvorak is moved, I think that, so let's just say they hang on to Dvorak, they trade him NHL deadline day. Mm-hmm. At that point, come March, maybe you can see Owen Beck making the jump with the big team. I think his future, a lot depends on what's going to happen with Dvorak.
That's fair. I think a lot depends on if the Canadiens are contending too. If they're contending at the trade deadline next year, and Dvorak, I thought when he came back at the end, he had a little more jump. I think we talked about that too. Looked like he was skating better. I mean, Dvorak's a good, he's a serviceable third line center. Really is.
He is.
So good on draws, good defensively, does a lot of little things right. So,
but the hope for Dvorak was to be at least as good as Danault, which I think he has not proven that yet.
No.
But I think Beck, you take a look at his ceiling,
a little higher.
He might be a little bit higher than Phil Danault. And if he ends up being a little bit higher than Phil Danault, I don't think he'll have a 27-goal season like Danault had in Los Angeles his first season. But Danault pretty much is a 15-goal, 45-point, 200-foot centerman. And I think Beck is that, a little superior in faceoffs and a little bit of a better shot.
Wow.
And so I think, right? But you're the scout. You tell me.
No. Well, he definitely has a better shot, I think, than Danault. Not as big, like as tall, is rangy maybe. But, I mean, that's a decent comparison. But there's also Oliver Kapanen. Now, I don't know. I tried to find out. No one seems to be able to tell me, but whether he's going to come to training camp this year. I mean, he signed that 2-year deal in the SHL.
Okay.
But I think he's probably more NHL ready right now than Beck even. So there's that wild card too. It's a nice problem to have, Tony, Doc coming back, Beck clamoring for a spot, and Kapanen, if he comes over, I think he's close to being NHL ready. I mean, he looked fantastic in the Liga playoffs and at the World Championships, so he's close too. So
but let's just say Kapanen comes to camp.
Mm-hmm.
What role do you see Kapanen in?
Well, could be anywhere from fourth line center to third line winger.
Yeah.
You know? He can play any bottom line role if you wanted once he's ready. I don't know if he's ready, but I think he could play in the NHL next year if that's what comes to be. But then there's also Jake Evans, right?
Yeah.
I think he's another candidate to possibly be moved at the trade deadline. I mean, he had some nice games at the end of the year, but boy, his stats the last 2 years aren't great.
He had a real good opportunity that was presented to him, of course, with the injury to Kirby Dach, the injury to Alex Newhook, the injury to Christian Dvorak, and Sean Monahan getting traded. Add it all up, he ends up being your second line centerman for some time. He gives you everything he has. Some nights he can actually surprise you with his hands. Might score a nice goal every now and then, but he's limited in terms of offensive production. And he's at the very most a third line centerman, that's a pretty good thing in the National Hockey League. But if you're on a Stanley Cup winning team, he's a fourth line centerman.
Maybe fourth. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not overly big. He's okay. His skating speed's okay now. He's got it up to NHL caliber, but he's serviceable. He's a good 12 to 14 guy in your lineup if you're a good team, But,
everything you saw with Owen Beck during the Memorial Cup, we saw a big hit. Yeah. We saw 2 big goals in the first period. We saw him challenging the bench of London, getting under their skin and stuff like that. We saw him do everything there was to do. And in the end, he comes out a Memorial Cup champ and, of course, the MVP. I think that raised a lot of eyebrows and it opened a lot of eyes. If the Canadiens, you would think, with all the prospects that they have and all the draft picks that they have, if they want to accelerate this rebuild, teams are going to come asking for some of the Canadiens picks and or prospects. If they call for Owen Beck and you're Kent Hughes and you pick up the phone, is he in a category where your prospects are untouchable, or he's in that one of your top prospects category, but if you lose him, it's not the end of the world and you have Kapanen and you have others?
Right. Well, you've got Newhook, you've got Kapanen, you've got Dach, you've got Suzuki. He's expendable. There's no prospects that are untouchable, not even Reinbacher and Hudson,
So when you say he's expendable, in your opinion, and now I don't want to put words in your mouth, but in your opinion, could he end up being a number 2 centerman who will pick up 60 plus points per year?
Yeah, I don't like to pigeonhole these guys. Would 3 or 4 years ago, would you have said that Sam Bennett was going to be number 2 centerman when he was
3 or 4 years ago? I didn't think that Sam Bennett would have been as good as he is right now.
Right.
I wouldn't think he would be that two-way. I wouldn't think that he could shoot the puck like that. I wouldn't think that he would be, that much of a character player. No, I would not have. No, to answer your question, I would not have. Having said that, Sam Bennett, correct? Like he's a 4th pick overall or something like that. I mean, he was drafted 4th overall for a reason. I mean, Owen Beck's not a 4th overall. He's a 32 overall.
Well, we've had that discussion before, 33. Tony. Bergeron wasn't a 4th overall pick.
You're right.
Kucherov wasn't a 4th overall pick. I can go on and on with that. I think that he's a similar player to Sam Bennett. Like there's a lot of similarities to their game.
Wow.
No, I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Sam Bennett because I think Sam Bennett might be the Conn Smythe winner this year. Right?
I think he's got if Florida wins, I think he's got a good chance.
Yeah.
I think he's got a good chance.
My point with that being, Tony, that you don't know. Like you can say, well, no, he's only going to be a 3rd line, but 4 years ago, would you have said Sam Bennett was going to be a Conn Smythe?
No. Then again, I want to add something to what you just said.
Yeah.
If Edmonton loses, I could still see McDavid winning the Conn Smythe too.
Well,
even if they lose.
What a goal the other night, eh? Just put the team on his back. And I want McDavid to win a cup because all the greats that they're considered the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
won cups,
with the exception of Marcel Dion and Gilbert Perreault.
Right. Well, and Brad Park, I would put Brad Park in that mix too.
Yeah,
but they're never considered like the greats of the greats because, well, they never won a cup. There's always that disclaimer.
The McDavid stats of 100 assists in a season and the company that he's in and the playoff stats too, after Gretzky and Lemieux, there's McDavid in terms of offensive numbers.
Right.
You can have a discussion whether Connor McDavid's a better all-round player than Sidney Crosby or whether they're, who's going to have the better career. But he's one of the top 5-6 best offensive players we've ever seen in the game.
Yeah.
Considering where the game is right now and the speed and everything.
Steve Yzerman was a 150-point scorer, 70 goals, but couldn't get Detroit over the hump till he was 30 years old, Tony.
Yeah.
And
I think in his 14th or 15th season, by the way.
Everyone said, well, he's good in the regular season. He's good, great player, but he's not one of the greats because he's not a good enough leader to lead a team to a Stanley Cup. Well, don't say that anymore about him because he did it more than once. So I think that McDavid deserves to be in that group with the Yzermans and, as a great player of all time. But unless he wins the cup, there'll always be that disclaimer. And that's why I want him to win it so badly, because it's so hard to get there. And you know what? He might play the next 7 or 8 years and never get back there again. When you have a chance to get to that cup final, you got to win it. At the same time, like I'm torn. Like I hate the fact that Florida went there last year and they lost. And if they would go back and lose again, like I hate that too. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm going for the Canadian team. And it's been too long since the Canadian team won a cup. And I would like it for Canada and McDavid. So I'm definitely pulling for the Oilers.
Hey, did you see the images of him stopping somewhere, going to pick up a couple of cases of beer?
Man,
he looked so unhappy that everyone was just invading in on his privacy. Like, could you imagine, like, going to a grocery store or wherever you're going, and you pick up a couple of cases of beer and you bring it back to your car, and everyone's hovered all over you. Like he looked like he was being shadowed by Chris Tanev. It was suffocating.
It was irritating to see, get back. Like the guy was practically draped all over him,
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like, relax a bit.
Send somebody to get yourself some beer next time, Connor. We'll send you some La Bittt Tibi. We're going to do that. Hey, listen, abbreviated shows, of course, during the months of June, July, August, as you know. We're not going to keep you for much longer, but I gotta give you credit because every year you pull like a rabbit out of your hat, or not a rabbit, but you tell hockey fans and Canadian fans in particular that don't be surprised. This guy is really making a move. I think you were on Beck at Seneca before anybody else, and now all of a sudden, I'm hearing more and more people say that Seneca's in their top 10.
Yeah, I
still don't know if they're gonna have the courage to pick him at 5th, but. I mean, well, he's in a lot of people's top 10 right now.
Wait till you see the draft guide, Tony. You're going to be quite surprised where I have him. So
you have him. You're going to have him at 5th to the Canadiens.
No.
All right.
But might be more surprising than that, Tony.
Wow.
But I talked to his coach. I called his coach today. And
really?
Yeah, Derek Laxdal, and he's. He says if he's not 6'4" now, he's 6'3.5".
Wow.
Now with those hands and that motor, like he's just got to grow into his body, but there's just so much upside and potential with him.
You know what? To be honest, he's everything the Canadians need.
He is.
Right? He's going to be 6'4" and he's going to end up being 220. with soft hands of a 5'10", 190. He can play any kind of game. He's a right-handed shot, and you're gonna have Slafkovsky on one wing. You're gonna have him on the other. To tell you the truth, there's a lot of good players out there. I think the Canadiens will end up getting themselves a really good player. He's everything they need.
Yeah,
he's everything they need.
I think he's a perfect fit. I don't know if they like him or not. I know the last time that I scouted him, Marty Lapointe was at the game, so they were at least looking at him, right? So, but if it were up to me, unless Demidov's there, and even then, it would be one or the other. But I think Seneca's the perfect choice for them at 5.
Over Tijigala.
Yes.
Why?
Well, Tej is 6 foot. This kid's 6'4", way better hands, better vision, better playmaker. He's got more upside. He's got more growth.
Tej better score. Tej better scorer. Better
goal scorer.
Yeah,
but that's only that's one element of the game. I think Beckett's a good goal scorer too. Like, he's going to score goals. He's got a good shot, but he's going to score goals where he goes end to end too. Like, he just. Did you see that video that I posted 2 days ago, Tony?
I did.
That has to impress you.
Yeah, big time.
How soft his hands are.
We look forward to it. Listen, the draft is what? It's 3 weeks and a couple of days away. So it's what is it, on the 28th, Friday the 28th and Saturday the 29th. And I want to let everyone know that I will be there. I will be there in Vegas. And that week I will be doing my show live from Vegas. So I'm going to the draft. The tickets are bought. The hotel is booked. And so I'll let everyone know right now that I'll be in Vegas. So it should be a lot of fun. Grant, once again, some amazing stuff by you, and we'll talk to you again in the next couple of days. Thanks for joining me on the Sick Podcast. He's Grant McCagg of the Recruits Draftcast podcast and recruits.ca. And of course, you can order your draft guide right now, $5 off at $14.99, and it should be complete once the combine is over in Buffalo. But getting your order right now, and you have $5 of savings. And also, of course, you can register to the recruits.ca. And be a subscriber monthly if you like. Grant, we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, my man.
Thanks, Tony.
The Sick Podcast brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, brought to you in part by Playground, brought to you in part by Tibi, brought to you in part by Accent Insurance Solutions. And once again, this Friday, June 7th, a special Grand Prix show. We will be live at Sir Winston's. They're kicking off their terrace season and gearing up for the Grand Prix weekend. And I will be there. See you at Winnie's on Crescent Street. For Shane Gaumont and Master Control, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great night. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaVie.tv. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.